So this time, I thought I would have a go at repairing this Nintendo DS. As you can see, it's in two pieces, which isn't how it was originally intended. And I've got this one, which is in better state, but still the hinge is broken. And apparently this is quite a common fault for the original Nintendo DS, where the plastic is just goes brittle and breaks. So I've got this new replacement case. So we're going to give it a try. So what I thought I'd do is, I don't know whether this silver DS works or not. I got it in this condition, so I thought I would go for this one first and use the other parts from the pink one as a donor. Now, it's still got its battery, which is a good start. So to take this apart is fairly straightforward. For the outer screws, you need a tri-wing screwdriver. So you see there, that's the tri-wing screws. So we just need to remove these. Say fairly straightforward. And we take that cover off. When we're in the inside cover here, it's all crosshead screws. So first thing I want to do is just remove this aerial, and then I need to remove the screen connectors. This one's going nowhere because the top ribbon's ripped on it anyway, so but just need to remove it because it's not doing anything anymore. And as you can see, they're fairly easy, they just flip open for this. So I just pull them ones out. And then underneath you've got these two smaller ones for the digitizer. So for these ones they have clips that pull forward. So now just removing all them screws. We're down to the printed circuit board itself, or the lower half of the printed circuit board. And we can see here the buttons and the original membranes, and these I'm going to use on a new case. The case did come with new buttons and new membranes and everything, however the original Nintendo ones are just better quality. So I might as well stick with the originals, there's nothing wrong with them. Just removing this bottom screen here. And as you can see, someone's done a wonderful job sticking the screen protector on there. It's just done its job, to be fair. So this ribbon's usually a lot longer, but obviously where it's been ripped, it's only quite small, so you just pull back this bit of foam and then you can remove this from the screen. Now looking at the screen itself, doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of a watermark when they've stuck that screen protector down, dirt's got underneath there. So now we're on the top half of it. Now normally there's screws on the front there that you covered by a little rubber membrane, and you'll see that later on in the video. However, these ones have all been removed. Once they're removed, it's just a case of prying off the back. Just removing the speaker PCBs as well. Again, just removing the rest of this cable that's snapped. Both held down with a single screw, and the speaker itself just touches them little pads on there, and that's what makes the contact to give you your sound. So this one can be discarded, it's no good to anybody anymore. This one's for the top screen. And then we've got this little one here, which I'm assuming is for backlight or something along them lines. So just removing the speakers, they just pop out. Again, they've been in there for a little while. And now I can prise this away from the top. The screen itself is in very good condition. The cover on the front has obviously had a bit of, I don't know, it looks like someone's tried to eat their dinner off it at some point. It looks very messy. So if we get our new case, obviously this isn't an official Nintendo one, this was a third party one I bought quite a while back now. And straight away you can kind of see it's not bad, but it's definitely not up to the Nintendo standard of game cases. For now, it's a lot better than the original case in that it's not damaged. It's made of sturdier plastic than the original case as well, surprisingly. This is the one that came with the new case, and you can see straight away it's like bowing out. It just isn't very well built. Also, the black surround on it just seems to be uneven, whereas on the original one it's kind of the same spacing all the way around. On that one, it's just, yeah, one side just seems to be thicker than the other. So now we're on the pink DS here. And you can see they're just prizing them things off to get the front cover off. Also, the other thing I noticed, this is a different version of the board. The one in the silver one is a CPU 1. This is a CPU 20. Don't know whether there's any particular difference with regards to sound or vision or anything like that, because they both seem to work on both screens no problem, so very interchangeable. Also, this was missing off of my silver screen, this little spacer, which I'm assuming is there to just kind of stop the screen from moving down. Again, there is a little bit of a gap at the bottom there. So these are the most important parts that I was missing from that silver case, and these are the hinges. And they can be a little bit funky to get out sometimes. Getting this second one out, you've got to get to this hidden screw inside the case, which removes this top cover, which then reveals that hinge. Just peeling back the foam again on this screen just so we can remove this ribbon cable. Ready for our new case. So yeah, just got to feed it through that little slot there. And it comes through fairly easy, just don't pull it too much. We'll just get that second hinge out there. So if you look at the hinges, you'll see they're two different sizes. So the one to the left is a lot longer than the one to the right. So what I'm doing here, you've got to put them in position for them to go back in again. They've all got to line up together, otherwise they won't push in. And getting them in the new case was a little bit of a challenge as well. So you can see now with that in position, it should slide all the way through. Now sometimes you can do this just with a finger and push it all the way home and it goes first time. And again, we'll try it with this smaller one. Making sure that alignment's good, otherwise if it's not aligned, it just, no matter what you do, it will just break the new case if you try and put too much pressure on it. So I'm just using a pair of pliers here just to push it all the way home. And now I'll do the same on the other side. And again with this, it can be firm, but if it's too firm, then just make sure you've got it lined properly. And once they're in, just test opening and closing it. It should sort of snap shut like the original DS. Just need to get that longer hinge in a little bit more. It's not quite all the way home at the moment. There we go. That's it. So they're both flush now. Well, they will be once I do this right hand one. So both the hinges should be flush on both sides, and there we go, they're both flush now. And now when we open and close it, we can kind of feel that snap. Just going to put this little shim back in place for this top screen as well. Now I just need to feed this cable through, and you'll find with a lot of DS's, when they're snapped in two halves, chances are this ribbon cable's ripped. Again, to try and get another one, it's probably cheaper to just buy another broken DS than to try and find that particular part separately. You'll probably pay the same again, if not more, right now in 2024. In the future that might not be the case. These might be worth a few £100 and getting the ribbon cables a lot cheaper, but right now you can normally pick up a broken DS for around 10 to 20 pounds or dollars. They're fairly cheap still, especially these first generation ones. Everyone kind of goes more for a DS Lite or the DSi or something like that. Just slotting this cable back in. Just need to push that back home again with a screwdriver. You can do it with your nails if your nails are long enough. It can be a little bit fiddly though. And the same with this one, you just got to make sure it's all the way home before you snap it down. Now we'll fit our cable that goes to the bottom half of the DS. The good thing as well with this, it's got locating pins, so making sure you got it in the right position is quite easy. Again, if it's out, then the then the pads won't meet up with the speakers and you won't get any sound out of it. So now with this top half together again, I'm just trying to put on the back case. It just feels like it just doesn't want to go together properly right now. It feels like there's a bit of a gap happening. So I'm just going to try some screws in there to see whether I can draw it in, because I can't see anything actually blocking it. So now that's back in place. I just need to put this little cover back on, and again you need to do this before you put in the bottom PCB, because this part, just need to adjust that again, not quite all the way over. As I say, these hinges can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So now that slots over there, and again this has got to be screwed from the inside. If you had that bottom PCB in there, you won't get to that screw, so that's why it's got to be done in a certain order. So now I'm just using another pink DS just to make sure I've got my buttons in the right positions. However, that said, all the buttons have a kind of locator pin on them, so if you've got them the wrong way around, when you look at the front of it, they'll just be upside down or sideways or whatever. So again, it's just worth checking, but just use a photo or something, that would probably do the job. And again, just comparing their membrane, it's just comparing the membrane there with the new membrane, and to be fair, they don't look a million miles different, but I'm going to stick with the original Nintendo one. So now just putting the bottom screen back in place again, peeling back that little bit of foam so I can lay this ribbon cable back down again in there. And the good thing is it's still got a little bit of stickiness from the previous one, so don't need to put any more double-sided tape on there or anything. It's still holding pretty nicely. Another thing that's easy to forget is this little lens, I suppose would be the best way to describe it. So that needs to go across into the new case as well. Again, if you forget it, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but obviously it just looks a bit weird with that missing. Now we get to the trickier part, which is trying to get all these cables through this tiny little hole at the same time. And as you can see, I'm making it look a lot more difficult than it probably needs to be. It's one of them jobs where you either do it first time or you do it on the 50th attempt. It's very hit and miss. So I'm just using a pair of tweezers here just to try and make sure I get this all the way home. Again, and once I'm happy that's in place, just push them pins in, so that will hold it in place. And the same here. And then finally this top one, which just has a little flip down, and that holds that in place. And again at the top. Now, the more astute amongst you will probably notice here, there doesn't seem to be any Wi-Fi aerial coming through. And I will get round to doing it at some point, but at this stage I've not realised I'm missing it. I'm too busy trying to get these shoulder buttons to work. And for some reason, every time I put these white shoulder buttons in and try to use it, it just was not having it at all. So the original idea was I would take the white buttons from the pink console and put them in the black thing for a nice contrast, which I have done on the front, but I was hoping also to have white shoulder buttons as well, but I just could not get them to work, so in the end I just stuck with the original black ones, and that seemed to work. Don't know why they wouldn't fit, I don't know what the problem was. They're genuine Nintendo DS ones. These are Nintendo DS ones, these aren't the ones that came with the case, so why it didn't fit is anyone's guess. So now another thing I need to try and do here is get off the original E-clip to fit onto the new black back cover, because for some reason they decided they would go cheap on this and just literally did a screw that goes through, and undo the screw, it will just come out. The nice thing with the original Nintendo one is that it's got this little retaining clip that holds it in place, so if you do need to get to the battery, you don't have to worry about losing this tiny little screw somewhere. And again, this is quite small, so it can be a little bit fiddly, so I'm just trying to do it with my fingers, and as luck would have it, I managed to get it first time. It's one of them things you might need a pair of long nose pliers, a small pair of long nose pliers or jeweler pliers or something like that to get that to go in. Just depends on how lucky you are that particular day. So here's the DS in the new case. I'm just going to give it a try, and that doesn't look promising. So we're getting a flash on the top screen, but we're not getting anything on the bottom screen, which would suggest that that connector's not made properly on that bottom screen. Also, again, this is something you don't really have to do. This is a moisture sensor, and I thought I might as well just take the one off the original case and put it in here. I thought also, what's the point in getting it straight? Why not just stick it at a 45-degree angle? After a little bit of messing around, I did get it kind of straight anyway. So I'm just going to have a look at these again. Ah, that looks like the problem. That smaller cable there has come out. So just need to try and get that one back in again. So again, just pushing out that clip. And again, you just got to be really gentle with that. If you push it too much, it will just ping out, and if it snaps, it's a nightmare to get it in. Same thing if you're ever doing anything on a laptop, similar sort of things. You just got to be really careful with these sort of clips, especially with this one due to its age as well. The plastic's going to be a little bit older and as strong as it was originally manufactured. So just put that ribbon cable back on. Now put the bottom of the case back on, and we'll see what we get. So I'm just going to put the battery in. Don't need to put the bottom cover on, and hopefully this time we got it working. Yep, happy days. So now I'm going to try some games in it. So I thought I'd just try, this was the first game that come to hand. It's Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. That's not good. It's not showing up as having a cartridge in there. So now I'm going to try the Game Boy Advance side, see whether that shows up. That's not showing up either. And that's not a promising sign at all. So what I thought I'd do at this stage is just try some contact cleaner in there. So now with this, it kind of dissolves fairly quickly. So what you do, just give it a little spray in. And then just put whatever it is, so in this case a cartridge, just reinsert it, take it out, reinsert it several times so it kind of cleans the contacts a little bit. because again, there could be a little bit of oxidization on these contacts. You know, this thing hasn't been used for a while. I don't know when the two parts were snapped, but I've had it for several years, and it's just sat there, so yeah, chances are that won't be great. So another thing I thought I'd do from the original case is bring its original label over as well. And if you're lucky, all the glue comes with it. I wasn't that lucky. You can see the Nintendo sticker that they gave with me with the case, and it's a bit rubbish. Again, it's off center and just doesn't look very good. So I thought I'd take the one off the silver case and put that on there. At least it looks the part, it looks correct. Let's try and flatten down that little corner where I lifted it. That doesn't look too bad. So now we'll try it again and see what we get. So that's working. The Game Boy Advance section is working. So with the DS side, looks like I've got problems with the actual cartridge port itself. No matter what I do cleaning, it looks like some of them pins down there are touching. Looks like it's going to need a new one. So normally you'd have to wait several weeks for an update on this. However, I done this back to back, so if you click here, you can see the next video where I take it all apart again and replace the DS cartridge port. I'll see you over there.